Well, here you are. You've made it to the final session of Wonderfully Made, a Bible study on disability and belonging in children's ministry. Thank you so much for going on this adventure with me. In the past four lessons, you've reflected deeply and really been presented with some tough questions. Thank you so much for sticking it out. And I really hope that you've caught a fresh glimpse on how Jesus sees children, especially those with disabilities. Now, this study isn't meant to be a checklist, it's just a beginning. It's a shift in your posture and perspective on working with children with disabilities in your classroom. You have such a commitment to ministry, and it truly reflects the heart of Jesus. And you're doing that just one child at a time. And today I want to celebrate that and encourage your next steps and truly commission you to keep going. Let's take a minute to recap. Okay. Our first lesson, we discussed that how everyone is created in the image of God. Every child reflects God's image, not just in potential, but in their present reality. We know that we have sacred worth that's not counted for in our behavior or ability. Lesson two helped us reframe our perspectives on disability. We know that disability is not a problem to fix, it's a context in which God's glory is revealed. We've moved from pity to purpose and from being scared to understanding that our children with disabilities are truly sacred. In lesson three, we talked about how Jesus welcomes everyone. He defends access to him and makes space for the most vulnerable. We're called to advocate and build inclusive communities where everybody belongs. And in our last lesson was our call to belonging, where true ministry means bearing burdens, offering rest, cultivating relationships and belonging, not just being tolerant or generous with our patients. Together, these truths form a theology of disability that's rooted in tolerance and transformation. So, what happens next? What if a child melts down in the middle of your next lesson, or a parent brings you a diagnosis you've never heard of? What if you end up feeling like you're still in way over your head? That's the good news. You're not expected to be perfect. You're called to be present. The God who knit each child together will equip you to love them well. He'll give you patience when you're tired, compassion when you feel confused, and creativity when your standard approaches aren't working. You don't have to know everything. You just have to show up with open hands. One of the most beautiful things about inclusive ministry is this: it's not one sided. You're not just the teacher, you're also the student. Children with disabilities often reveal new dimensions of our faith. A child who repeats the same worship phrase over and over, well, isn't that persistence in praise? A nonverbal child who lights up the side of a cross, that's recognition of a sacred space. And a child who needs structure and repetition, that's a mirror of how we all need predictability and grace. These are not distractions, they're discipleship moments. And if you've made it through this study, that means you truly care. I know I really asked you to reflect on some hard questions. Now you'll see the gaps and you'll want to bridge them. Let me speak these words over you. First of all, you are called to see children through the eyes of Christ. You are equipped even when you feel unsure, and you are commissioned to create spaces of welcome, dignity, and belonging. This is sacred work, and Jesus goes with you. And so do I. I will continue to pray over each and every one of you. And I am here as a resource if you need any additional support. thank you again so much for going on this journey with me. Um, until next time, but also remember you are wonderfully made. Bye now.